"Take a nice walk," my husband James called out mockingly from the driver's seat, his family laughing along with him. I stood there in disbelief, one hand on my 8-month pregnant belly as their luxury SUV pulled away from the remote gas station. The blazing Florida sun beat down as I watched their tail lights disappear, headed toward their beach resort vacation. Without me. My name is Kayla Thompson, and until that moment, I thought I knew what betrayal felt like. But watching my husband of 3 years abandon his pregnant wife at a gas station in the middle of nowhere, that was a whole new level of cruelty. His mother, Diana, and sister Ashley were in the back seat, and I could still see their smirking faces as they drove off. It had started as a normal bathroom break during our road trip to Daytona Beach. I'd asked James to wait while I used the restroom, as walking was becoming increasingly difficult in my 3rd trimester. When I came out, I saw them all laughing and pointing at me through the car windows. Before I could reach the vehicle, they drove away, leaving me stranded in the scorching heat. The gas station owner, Tom, an older gentleman with kind eyes, witnessed the whole thing. He immediately brought me inside the air-conditioned store and offered me a cold drink. "I've got security cameras covering the whole property," he said, his voice tight with anger. "What they did? That's not right." I sat in his small office, trying to process what had just happened. My phone was in the car along with my purse and everything. Else I was literally stranded with nothing but the sundress I was wearing. Tom's wife, Barbara, who helped run the store, brought me some water and crackers. "I'm calling the local news," Barbara declared, her face flushed with righteous anger. "People need to see this. What kind of man leaves his pregnant wife stranded and his family laughing about it? This isn't right." It should have felt embarrassed or tried to stop her. Instead, I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me. Let them call the news. Let everyone see exactly what kind of man James Wilson really was. As I rubbed my swollen belly, feeling my baby girl kick, I knew this wasn't just about me anymore. This was about protecting my daughter from a family that thought cruelty was amusing. Looking back, there had been warning signs about James and his family from the beginning. When we first met at a charity gala 3 years ago, James seemed different from his family. Kinder, more genuine. He was a Mrs. Thompson, Jennifer said, gently, your story has struck a nerve. Women across the country are sharing similar experiences of emotional abuse and abandonment. You've started a movement. I place my hand on my belly. Feeling my daughter kick, I'm not doing this for revenge, I said to the camera. I'm doing this because no one should have to experience what I did today. And my daughter needs to know that her mother stood up to bullies. Even when those bullies were family, by morning, the story had exploded beyond anything I could have imagined. Tom, the gas station owner, appeared on a national morning show, sharing how his security cameras had captured not just the abandonment, but a disturbing conversation before I'd come out of the bathroom they were planning. Tom revealed to millions of viewers. The audio picked up the mother-in-law saying, "This will teach her to embarrass our family. They were laughing about leaving. A pregnant woman stranded. Who does that?" Nicole rushed into my hospital room, her face flushed. "With news, Kayla? You need to see this. Someone leaked emails from Diana's foundations." She held up her tablet showing me internal communications from the Wilson Family Foundation. The emails revealed a calculated campaign to isolate me from James with Diana, explicitly stating that a pregnant kindergarten teacher wasn't Wilson material. But the real bombshell, came from Ashley's leaked texts to Jameson's. The baby's born. We'll have grounds to claim she's an unfit mother. Your position at Florida Values Insurance and Mom's Foundation connections will make sure we get custody. The revelation hit me like a physical blow. This wasn't just about humiliating me. They'd been planning to take my baby. Mrs. Thompson, a man in a suit, appeared at my door introducing himself as Michael Roberts, Florida Values Insurance's Chief Ethics Officer. May I speak with you? Privately, after Nicole stepped out, Hay got straight to the point. We've terminated James's employment. Effective. Immediately, our company cannot be associated with someone who would endanger a pregnant woman and deliberately plan to separate a mother from her child. He handed me a folder. These are screenshots from James's company email showing he used corporate resources to research custody lawyers specializing in maternal fitness cases. We're turning everything over to your legal team. My hand shook as I read through the documents. James had been laying groundwork for months, documenting every small mistake I made, planning to use my emotional instability against me. One more thing. Michael added his expression. Grave. Our HR department discovered Jamesh as a pattern of workplace harassment. Several female employees have now come forward with complaints they were previously afraid to file. This goes beyond your situation. Mrs. Thompson, you've exposed a systemic problem as he left. Jennifer Parker returned with breaking news. Diana's largest charity partners were publicly cut ties with the Wilson Family Foundation, the prestigious country club where they held their social events. Had revoked their membership. Their carefully constructed world of influence was crumbling. The resort just asked them to leave. Jennifer reported their guests were complaining about sharing space with those horrible people from the news. They're being escorted out as we speak. My phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. It was from James's assistant at Florida Values Insurance. I saved the dash cam footage from his company car. He and his mother were planning this for weeks. I couldn't stay silent anymore. I looked out my hospital window at the gathering media crews, thinking about how quickly truth can come to light. The Wilsons had planned to destroy me, but their own actions had destroyed themselves. Instead, the next day brought an unexpected visitor. James's former executive assistant Amanda, clutching a thick folder and looking nervous. I can't keep quiet anymore, she said, sinking into the chair beside my hospital bed. The custody plan. It wasn't just about getting the baby. There's money involved. A lot of it. Amanda spread out documents across my bed: insurance policies, trust fund papers, and financial statements painted a disturbing picture. James and his family had taken out several policies related to my pregnancy, including a substantial life insurance policy I'd never known about. They were planning to paint you a Sunstable, Amanda explained, her voice shaking. The abandonment wasn't just cruelty. It was meant to provoke a stress reaction they could document. If you'd gone into labor at that gas station, the implications made me feel ill. Nicole, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. We need to get this to the FBI. This isn't just a viral news story anymore. It's attempted insurance fraud. Jennifer Parker arrived just as we were reviewing the documents. We need to be careful how we handle this, she advised. The Wilsons still have powerful friends. They're already trying to spin this as a publicity stunt, as if on cue. My phone lit up with a notification. Diana had posted a video statement on the foundation's website, tears streaming down her perfectly made-up face. We only wanted to protect our grandchild. She claimed Kayla's erratic behavior had us deeply concerned. Whenever meant the video cut off as another call came in. James himself, after conferring with Jennifer and Amanda, I put it on speaker. Kayla, baby, please, he begged, his voice honey sweet. This has all gotten out of hand. Let's talk privately. Work things? Think about our daughter. She needs your father. I thought about the insurance policies, the C plans, the calculated cruelty. You're right, James. She does need her father, just not one who would risk her life for a financial scheme. What are you talking about? His voice turned sharp. Be careful what you say, Kayla. Remember who you're dealing with. No, James. Remember who you dealt with, a kindergarten teacher who knows how to document everything, who has witnesses' security footage, and now your own paper trail who has the national media watching every move. You make the line went silent for a moment when he spoke. Again, the fake sweetness was gone. You'll regret this, my family. Your family is finished. I cut in. Check your phone. The FBI just announced an investigation into the foundation's finances, apparently. Someone sent them some very interesting documents. Amanda smiled grimly as she hung up her own phone. The federal agents just arrived at the motel where they're staying. She reported the insurance company's fraud division is cooperating fully. I rubbed my belly, feeling my daughter kick strongly. She's going to grow up knowing her mother stood up to bullies. I said softly. That's worth more than any trust fund. Jennifer's camera crew captured the moment the FBI LED Diana out of the motel in handcuffs, her perfectly crafted image crumbling as she faced the consequences of her actions sometimes. Justice comes in unexpected ways. 1 week later, I sat in my hospital room cradling my newborn daughter Lily, who had decided to make her entrance 2 weeks early, perfectly healthy and beautiful. The TV mounted on the wall played coverage of the Wilson family's downfall. Breaking news. Federal investigators have uncovered a pattern of insurance fraud at the Wilson Family Foundation. The anchor announced sources say the attempted exploitation of a pregnant woman was just the tip of the iceberg. The footage cut to James being hauled out of his lawyer office in handcuffs, no longer the polished executive, but a desperate man facing federal charges. Diana's foundation was being dissolved, its assets, frozen. Ashley's social connections had evaporated overnight. Tom and Barbara, from the gas station, had sent flowers along with a note. Your daughter has a strong mother that's worth more than any fancy family name. Nicole helped me adjust Lily's blanket as we watched James's company CEO make a statement. Florida values insurance, establishing a fund for victims of domestic manipulation and financial abuse. The seed money comes from the bonus we withdrew from James Wilson upon his termination. I looked down at Lily sleeping peacefully in my arms. She would grow up knowing her mother's strength, not her father's cruelty. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about breaking free and building something better from the ashes. 3 months later, I returned to my kindergarten classroom, greeted by supportive parents and administration that had stood by me throughout the ordeal. On my desk sat a framed newspaper article. Gas station abandonment case leads to new state law. The Thompson Protection Act now made it a felony to deliberately abandon a pregnant woman in dangerous conditions. Diana's crocodile tears at her sentencing hadn't swayed the judge who cited her calculated cruelty in handing down a 5-year sentence for insurance fraud. James and Ashley faced similar consequences for their roles in the scheme. My story had become a catalyst for change. Florida Values Insurance had hired me as a consultant for their new family protection initiatives. The speaking invitations poured in: women's groups, corporate ethics panels, law enforcement training sessions. But my favorite moments were still in my classroom, teaching my young students about kindness and standing up to bullies. Lily thrived, surrounded by love from my real family. Nicole, who became her godmother, Tom, and Barbara, who visited regularly. and the countless strangers who had become allies. The Wilson family's social media accounts stayed silent, their once mighty influence reduced to a cautionary tale. Remember, I told a reporter who asked about my message to others. Sometimes the worst moments in our lives lead to our greatest strength. Lily will grow up knowing that her mother didn't just survive, she helped change things for the better.